Good evening. I'm Epstein with your SPDR ETF stock market wrap-up for a very active week so far. It is Thursday, December 19th, 2024. Now tomorrow a big event, triple witching, and they claim that there's two services I watch that give approximate values. A non-notional, they're saying almost 6.6 trillion. You heard the word trillion. Dollars in option expiration tomorrow. With notional, they're saying close to 8 trillion. So it's going to be wild. You have the loss of the D's futures. Then you have the options on futures going in D's. Then you also lose at that point in time the options on the SPDR ETFs that are related to so many different products out there as well. So pay attention. It's an important event. You get a flurry of trade, and either they let them expire, they exercise them right on opening. So pay attention. It gets to be pretty wild, and the markets spurt one way or the other. In terms of news for tomorrow, you're going to get at 7:30 in the morning the important personal income spending and the PCE index. Now, normally I don't give you what the figures are, but I wanted to because this is an important report. Personal income, be careful. Looking for it up 0.4. That would be a pretty good number. And spending up 0.5 on the month. Now, those are the numbers the market's looking for. Obviously, over that would be a hot number. Under it would be colder numbers. So we'll see if you get pressure one way or the other from that. I don't know, as I'm recording this, as we're getting on here to, what, 7 at night or so, I believe? Yeah, 10 to 7 right now. How the vote in the House went, or if it's going on right now to pass the budget extension, if you will. They're trying to get 90-day extension, and what was given. Now, I understand Republicans came out all smiles, but nobody was talking. Are they going to get an increase in the debt limit, or are they getting the debt limit taken off? I like a debt limit. Because to me, it's one of our ways of not just waking up and saying, my God, look what they did with that. I'd rather see them fight the politics involved and all that. But that's not what you want from either side. They like when they're in control that they can just ram it through there. So I'm not in favor of that. But that's me. You might be so. But that's where all the pork barrel items come. Because, hey, you want my vote to get this through? I need a bridge in my area here. All right, we've got to get my constituents something here. No. The road's got to be widened. This is where all that happens, all right? So anytime you want something done in Congress, what are you going to give me? The hands are out. You know that that's the way it works. Will there be a pay increase in this temporary 90 days? Probably not. I think they can get certain things done. But just because the Republicans passed the vote doesn't mean the whole House is going to pass it, does it? Maybe it does. I don't know. Then it's got to go to the Senate. Is the Senate going to pass it? And then you got Joe, all right? You know, Joe, he's been quiet. He's probably out in, Martha's Vineyard or wherever the heck he goes doing his thing. But as I'm looking at that, I doubt he'll want to create a problem at the very end that doesn't benefit anybody. So we'll see what happens. But there's 3 steps, and anything can happen in those. So a lot happening tomorrow. Now, I can tell you this morning as the markets were going, I was telling traders, be careful. It's not uncommon after a big break like yesterday to get a bounce right off the bat, and traders will go, that's it. The market blew itself out. Well, generally, what I do on days like that is I wait for the final 25% of trading. In other words, for the last, if it's a 6-hour day, the last hour and a half of trading, just to give you an example. If the market's making new highs, I'm pretty comfortable that the market's going to try to keep doing that. If it's making new lows, otherwise, the flip-flop. Otherwise, it can do anything in between. And this is a market that tried all day to hold rallies and couldn't. It's just the reality of the situation. The Dow was up, but the other indices were not down a lot, but they certainly weren't up. You can see it's not the sea of all red. NVIDIA was up today for a change. Google was up a little bit. Amazon and Netflix, these are the stellar names, and they have been staying up. When you get away from the stellar names, not too much really going on here. You're still trading gains at the $28 mark in the uranium. Dell down a bit, right, as you can see here. Ford fairly stable, but it's back under $10. That's not a good picture for that market. And in the metal markets, a very mixed bag. So we've got to wait and see what happens. It did not help the metals today, especially the futures, that the dollar closed at 108.15 in the March contract. That is a new high for this move. So we could be going towards that 110 level yet. Now, I'm going to finish up with ARK, but what do you want me to pick up? So tonight, write me. If I like what you've written, to give me some ideas what you'd like me to cover, I'm going to remove ARK, and I'll give that through the Christmas week that's coming up. So you name them, I'll see what I can do with them. And don't give me, hey, this is a double inverted, 3-time margin. I'm not going to do any of those. Higher high, lower low. That's the pattern that you've got here. So this has had a neat run up. I mean, as I said, you've got to give her picks an applaud here. She finally, the word is finally, caught a move. All right, because she didn't. This is a woman that's been beaten up, and her funds have been beaten up pretty good over the past couple of years. She was a stellar performer for a long time. Then, like so many, you're a star until you're not anymore. And the market has gone up and doubled. And, you know, don't not pay attention to that. This was a $60 stock in August. 6 months later, roughly, you have a stock that's just breaking back from the 120 level. Give it credit where credit's due. The picks are good, but like so many of the markets now, a bit of a correction. That does not mean you're not going to be back up as we get to the end of the year and into January. I think a lot of this correction will do that. Let's wait and see if that turns out to be the case. There's a lot of history, I'm going to repeat, going for that. We'll see. Higher high, lower low, back under the 18-day average. So you've completely neutralized this uptrend. This leg of that is over. It has to rebuild that leg. When you look at where it stopped, didn't quite get to the Bollinger Band. Certainly did here. It broke on its own a different way finally, but what stopped the market was very clear. When you lost the bullish embedded reading, and I'll show it to you right over, come on, one more. There you go. Here you're bullish. You lose this under 79, game over. Could even go down here. The first objective is the closest main moving average, the 18-day average. Next could be this number if it extends itself, so we'll see. It is not an oversold territory. Oracle, remember when I told you, I said this market I thought should have gone for the gap fill, and the fact that it didn't, there's problems. Now I want to flip what I'm saying. You're getting down, and you got down yesterday to the point where you're at the Bollinger Band and the 100-day average. That's your first major support area after this debacle. Don't be surprised if the market has to churn there for a bit. I'm not certain it's going down a lot more. CrowdStrike, coming down. I'd love to see it get into the 337 and then churn in here, because I think that this is a company that, you know, for portfolios makes sense to own. Not here, though. You're not at that point just yet. You are in an uptrend with higher lows, higher highs, but you need to prove you can stay over the 18-day average. So maybe when expiration on a lot of stuff's through in the morning, that's it. I told you up here I thought Rivian would let you back in at a better price. And yesterday I said I think it'll be between the 18-day average down to here. I have not changed my opinion. I think you're going to see a number of people buying this market on that break. The weekly chart has the support right at the $12 mark. In K-Web, China, problems at the 100-day average, first support zone, and it is oversold, so I could see where the pros are doing some short covering. It might want to go to the 200 in the lower Bollinger Band, not a place I'd want to get more aggressively bearish from, that I can say. In Toll Brothers, high interest rates doing Lennar, these are the big boys. These are the guys that people come to them a lot of times for all cash. If they're not good, what's going to happen to XHB? Kaboom. It's not over there either. Now, you're going to get too extreme in these markets. Housing is needed. You're going to see that the supply is in short supply. The problem is right now interest rates are high and we're at Christmas time, all right? I'm not saying there aren't people out there buying. They better have cash ready to go. And if they're going for new homes like the Linnars and the Toll Brothers, well, that's okay. You can do this at any time. But now you got to figure out how do you get the pricing down, and that's what's going to happen. Their margins are going to go down a bit if they're going to entice buyers. When you look at the amount of homes available for sale, you don't have a 4-month supply out there. Lower highs, lower lows. By the way, there are 17% more homes for sale now than there were a year ago at that time. So that's pretty good, but you're still not back to normal. That's the point that I'm trying to make. XLI, industrial sector. Every time I see a set of numbers come out, they're terrible. Philly today came out, absolutely no good. Empire State, absolutely no good. Chicago numbers, no good. And you're seeing that's all come into play, and now you have an embedded reading. You're getting a lot of embedded readings now. That's when these numbers lock in for several days or more under 20. Eventually, when they lose them, I get bullish. But until they're lost on rallies, I think these markets still get sold. Same in XLE, no change in my opinion there. Gold is oversold into big support. That's not bullish. Big support isn't bullish. At the 100-day average in the Bollinger Band. Let's see if it can hold that or go for another leg to the downside. Silver didn't hold the 100-day. It came down, and it's not even holding very well the 200. It certainly is under it. Is this just going to leak away? It could. And this is a market off this break that just lost $3. That's an awful lot. Copper market. I told you if China didn't do the right thing last week. And right thing was they had to come out and not just say, we're going to support housing. We're going to build roads. How? When's it going to happen? Where's it going to happen? No, we're going to tell you that in March. Kiss of death. And that's basically what happened. BND. Now this is in the U.S., the TLT, and these are just different variations of U.S. interest rates. The lower they go, the higher interest rates are going. You can see that. And in the dollar, to me, now until you get under these lows, you have a market that is making a statement. This may well be the base. It's more defined on the futures contract. Not quite the case yet in FXE, but certainly in the bear camp. Are we going to go to 102 to 100 level in the euro? Because they got to come out and cut rates more. Are you looking at the problems in France, the problems in Germany? I can go on. The Eurozone is not doing well. They're cutting rates, and our economy is so strong, we're talking higher for longer. Just completely different worlds. You put it together, and I talk about this each morning, and we review charts, 40 of them at a time. Now, the first ones that we do are in the futures market at 6 in the morning. Remember, futures, they open up at 5 at night again, and they're trading right on through in the financial sector. And then the other markets start opening 7 at night, 2 in the morning, but they start to rock and roll. And by, I'm telling you, when I'm recording it, it sets you up for what we're going to look at in the ETFs and the other markets, because they're all tied together, metals included in that. Because, you know, you look at copper, you look at SLV, GDX, they're all there. So I cover all this for you. And you'll see daily and weekly charts, different than I do here completely, because I do say, buy here, this is where I want you to buy, this is where the stop is, this is what I'm looking for, here's the strategy, there's a base period, you'll see what I'm talking. And I teach charting as you go through it. Then you get special access to all my reports for free, because you only get a certain amount of them free during the lifetime that you visit them. How do you get this? IraEpstein.com research. So you go to IraEpstein.com, top right, research. Couldn't be easier. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great evening. I'll catch up with one and all when we talk about the PCE numbers first thing in the morning. Take care now.